Hey everybody, it's Kristen here. I'm just having a really rough time right now with headaches, like weird headaches though, like all of a sudden it'll hurt in one spot and then like a couple seconds later it's like weird because I get like really weak or either get really weak or like to the point where it's like this morning, like Tim had to help me back into bed because I tried to get up, and it's just really hard when I can't do simple things like that. Like, I don't know. Living with a chronic disease is already really hard, but then when you get new symptoms or symptoms that are more intense than they usually are, or things like that, things can feel really scary because I'm used to certain symptoms and I know how to ward them off, or at least band-aid over them or deal with them in some way. So it's really hard when new symptoms happen because I'm like, I don't know how to deal with this, and I don't know if this is the small fiber polyneuropathy or what's going on, and it's just kind of scary. Headaches really aren't associated with small fiber polyneuropathy, like, a whole lot. And I've had migraines before, and these are not migraines. These are, like, totally different. They come and go super fast, and I know there's lots of different kinds of headaches out there, so maybe it's just a normal, quote-unquote, normal headache. But I don't know, it's pretty severe, and it's got me feeling kind of down a little bit. Not to the point where I'm like, like in severe sadness, like severe depression or something, but enough where I'm asking for prayer, I guess, and, I don't know. I'm struggling right now with not being able to do things like, I don't know. Like, Alyssa wanted to make pancakes the other day, and I wanted so badly to make them with her. And that's pretty much all I could think about. That's pretty much all I could think about for, like, a good half of the day. Sometimes I just want to be able to do normal things with her, or with Briella. I don't know, they both like to bake and do things like that, and it's hard because I can't. Sometimes I can't. But I'm trying to point them back to the cross through all of this, and, like, I'm trying to show them that at the end of the day, all that really matters is, did you love God well? And did you love others well? And I think a part of me showing them how to love God well right now is showing them, like, how to suffer well. And I think if I think of suffering well as a way to also serve God and I don't know, give him glory through it by just choosing every second of every day, like, okay, am I pointing my kids back to Jesus? Am I, like, am I, yeah, this might hurt, and I might not be able to talk very well through it. I might not be able to go to church, like, today's Sunday, and I hear my children and my husband getting ready right now for church, and I'm not even a part of that, like, because I can't be, because I tried to get up, and I almost fell, and, so that's really hard. It's really hard when all I want to do is, like, help get them dressed and things like that, and it's really easy, though, to, like, start feeling sorry for myself, instead of being like, you know what, this is where God's called me today. Like, this is where He's called me, and He's called me to try and get through this headache, and figure out a way to love others well from this bed. And, that's what I'm supposed to do today. So, just pray for me that I can do this well, because some days are harder than others to suffer well. I need some serious prayer today, because it's hard. And, somebody that I really look up to a lot is Joni Eareckson. Joni Eareckson Tada is her name. I don't know if you've heard of her or not. Probably have, but I actually have one of her paintings up on the wall of our bedroom. I can't really turn over right now to show you, but it's really cool. It's got like a Seasons, it's called Seasons, and it's the same picture with just in different seasons, and I love that painting from her. She's in a wheelchair. She's a quadriplegic after a really bad accident when she was 17. I guess I relate a lot to her in different things, because there have been moments in my life where I can't really move. Like today, like I just can lay here, and I don't know. She's just a really good, like, icon of faith, I don't know. And she encourages me in a lot of ways. And one of the things I heard from her, she paints with the paintbrush in her mouth, and she just, anything she has, she tries to use it for God's glory. And so that's what I'm trying to focus on, and that's what I've been trying to focus on for a while now, is just how do I serve God through this, like how do I point my kids toward Him? How do I do everything I can? Yeah, my arms might hurt today, but how do I use them still for God's glory? Can I hug my kids? Can I, like, just things like that. And anyway, so Joni Eareckson's been like a big person in my life, I guess. She doesn't even know me, but Sorry, I'm getting like a really bad headache on the right side. But one of the things she said was, you know, when Moses was just going about his daily routine, and I think he might have been looking for, was he looking for a lost lamb? Or maybe I got that wrong. I don't know. Maybe that was just in the movie. But, anyway, when he was just kind of, he was walking, on a path, and then all of a sudden he looks over because he sees this burning bush. And he's like, okay, that's weird. Not because it was even like a burning bush necessarily, but because he was walking by and it wasn't being consumed, you know. And I love what Johnny said about that. Like, I want to be a spectacle of glory to the point where people walk by and see that my bush is burning, but I'm not being consumed. Like, why is Johnny, why is Kristen not being consumed by that? And that right there, like, that is how people with disabilities and with chronic pain and with all kinds of junk going on in their lives, like, I guess moment by moment, are we making that decision to trust that God has me here today for a specific reason? And even if I can't see it here on earth, maybe that's okay, because I know that I don't fight against flesh and blood, but I fight against the principalities of this world. And so because of that, the unseen might be seeing me right now. And they might be just watching me and thinking, like, they know what I'm going through, and at the same time still trusting God, and that gives God glory. And even if it's just a moment by moment thing where we're just like constantly giving it back to God, that's like, that is totally giving God glory, and that's worshiping Him, because we're choosing Him over anything else in that moment, and including our pain, which is hard to choose sometimes. It's easy to get swept up in our pain, and maybe it's not even physical pain, maybe it's, you know, even in like our minds, like, that pain is very, very real. And, you know, maybe it's like not even a pain necessarily, maybe it's, I don't know, it could be a trial, it could be anything that we're going through. And I think if we're, you know, it doesn't have to be anything big. It can be the smallest choice. Like right now, like, the only thing I can do is lay here right now and hold my head. Especially the left side of my head. And I've got to figure out ways from this point with whatever I have. I have my mind. Still got that. Barely. It's still there though. But you know, like, can I pray for others as I'm laying here? Can I, if my kids need a hug, can they come in and just give mommy hugs? And like, can I still talk to them? Can I read to them? You know, just things like that. I want to be a bush that, although I'm on fire, people have to look over and point to something greater than what's happening, greater than the circumstance around the bush. Because by all accounts, I should be burning up. I shouldn't be trusting God still, right? Why would a loving God do this to me? But if people can see in this crazy, consumed world that we live in, if they can look over and see something very different, they have to stop. They have to, and think about it. And I think that gives God glory. But not just for the people that we see. What about the great cloud of witnesses in heaven? They might be looking at you right now, just like with Job. I just picture with Job, like all of heaven looking at this man who's been allowed to suffer so much. And yet he still loved God through it. Even when people were telling him, basically, curse God and die. Like, that's what they were telling him. And Job kept saying, like, no. Like, I'm going through a lot. Like, he acknowledged he was going through a lot. And he definitely talked to God about things and asked God about things. But at the end of the day, Job was still faithful to God. And I just picture every choice that Job made in that time. I just picture all of heaven peering over and looking at Job and watching what his next move was going to be. And I think if I think about my trials that way, not saying that's even how it is, but like, if I think about it that way, if I know that that's a possibility, what if heaven is looking at me right now to see what my next move's gonna be? What's my choice? So, anyway, all that to say, these are just thoughts from me today, and I don't know if, I don't feel like I've been a big encouragement or anything like that, but just random thoughts from Kristen. But also, I'd ask you, if you see this today, or this week or something, please pray for me, because it's hard to get through it, and sometimes it's hard for me to explain to people just how much I'm going through. So that's why I thought I'd make this video too, and just ask for prayer, I guess, like, while I'm going through it, because, like, we need to be real with each other, and I need to be real about what's going on, so that God can be glorified through it. So anyway, just pray for me and let me know how I can pray for you. And yeah, that's my joy right now, to pray for people, because sometimes that's all I can do all day. And I know that God hears my cries, and I know that I know you guys are praying for me, and I really, really thank God for every one of you that does that for me, because it's a big deal. It's a big deal that you go to God's throne for me on my behalf. That's a big deal to me, especially when I know a lot of you have a lot going on in your own life. So anyway, let me know how I can pray for you though, and I love you guys, and I'll be watching the church service today from the bed, maybe the couch if I can get up to the couch. But I wish I could see you guys today at church, or if you don't go to church, just know that I'm praying for you too. I'm not just directing it to my church friends. But yeah, I hope you guys all have a blessed day, and I'm gonna rest now. So, bye.